Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core Studio again today. Yeah, this is going to be happening quite a bit this week and probably early next week as well, because spoiler season for March of the Machine, Mother Machines, whatever it is, March of the Machine. I think we got there. And yeah, it's not plural, it's not machines, it's just machine, which kind of makes it confusing. Regardless, spoiler season is finally here. Though the Twitch stream is probably going on right now-ish. But yeah, Forbes had an article earlier today and probably released it just a bit too early. And yeah, so we got some really early spoilers from today. So let's jump into the next one with Gizmo. Just kidding. For any Gremlins fans out there. Any Gremlins fans out there? Yeah, you love Gizmo, right? Anyways, Gimbal, Gremlin Prodigy. Yeah, gonna be a lot of Gizmo alters of this one. A 4/4 Gremlin Artificer that costs 2 green, blue, red. Artifact creatures you control have trample. So, artifact creature tribal for Gizmo. At the beginning of your end step, create a 0/0 red Gremlin artifact creature token. Put X counters on it, where X is the number of differently named artifact tokens you control. So this is a Gremlin Artificer, I believe, and correct me below in the comments if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure, thinking back, yeah, I think this has got to be the only Gremlin commander so far. I mean, yes, Changeling commanders, no, those don't count. Those do not count. No. This is the only one, okay? Anyways, so Gimbal is, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna keep calling Gizmo probably because, yeah, there's gonna be so many cute alters of that. Don't feed him after midnight. Don't water him or whatnot. Those are the rules, right? Yeah, this is a very interesting commander, though. Not probably Gremlin Tribal because there's only so many Gremlins out there. Now, yeah, making Gremlin tokens, that helps too. It actually kind of feeds into this ability as well. It's just kind of an interesting ability though, because again, it says at the beginning of your end step, you get a 0/0 and you get that many counters on it based on the number of differently named artifact tokens you control. That is so specific. It's very interesting because again, like, yeah, I mean, if you just make a bunch of servos, that only counts for 1, right? I mean, you've got a servo plus, so you're also going to make a Gremlin artifact token as well, right? So it's just like, it's just interesting because, yeah, you need to go kind of like wide, go wide strategy, but with like differently named artifact tokens. Now, there are quite a few out there. I mean, just to name a few off the top of my head, like treasures, food, clues, blood. We're also getting a new one from this set. If you haven't seen my most recent episode, make sure you check that out at some point. Incubate. We've also got, I mean, like any kind of artifact creatures. Like, you know, like typically you'll see servos. Typically you'll see, you know, Thopters being artifact creatures as well. We also have ways to make artifact creature tokens out of artifacts as well, or artifact creatures. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of go about this. And yeah, just a good amount of potential for this commander where once you get it set up properly, I mean, every single one of your end steps, you're going to be making a giant Gremlin artifact creature token, which is just adorable. Again, I can see just all the alters these days, you know, just of like this commander as Gizmo, and then just the little like other ones as like little like artifact Gizmos, or maybe, what was the one with the Mohawk? Anyone in the comments below? What was the Gremlin with the Mohawk? I am not looking it up right now. I don't know. Maybe it was like Mohawk or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so this one, again, I think is an interesting commander. It's kind of off the wall and different again. Again, you could, you know, go heavy into just artifact creatures if you want, like, you know, Metal Earth Colossus, you know, maybe Mere Battlesphere, that kind of stuff as well. Giving, you know, big creatures trample is good. But the way that I think I would build about it I would go, you know, as wide as you can go with, you know, different artifact tokens and just kind of taking advantage of all those, making sure that you're getting the most of that trigger at the end of your turn, you know, making, you know, maybe a 7, 8, 9, 10 powered, you know, Gremlin that you can also, you know, utilize in different ways. That, of course, you know, you can utilize, you know, with, you know, powers matter effects, which, of course, you know, you have access to, especially, you know, in green. Yeah, you can do a lot of different cool things and a lot of different cool interactions with those counters as well. So with all that said, again, on episodes like this one and quick takes like this one, I'm going to take you through budget buys, cards that are not cars, that are less than $1. Cards are within my budget, and then pricier picks, cards that are outside of my budget, cards that are more than $1. Regardless, all these cards will be in a link in the description below. And yeah, make sure you check that out, because when exciting new commanders like this one are spoiled, sometimes cards that work well with it tend to go up in price sooner rather than later, so consider picking up some of those. Now, with all that said, let's jump into the budget buys, and we're going to start things off with Unexpected Windfall, a very popular card in Commander. Instant for 2 red. Hey, discard 1 card, draw 2, make 2 treasure tokens. Again, treasure tokens have taken Commander by storm over the past couple years. Hopefully Wizards is finally slowing things down. Hopefully, because it got kind of absurd, and yeah, treasures got a little annoying, and yeah, I mean, not that you wouldn't just avoid using treasures in this kind of deck because they're annoying. But yeah, when used in moderation, they're fine, right? But yeah, basically, hey, this is good, card advantage, essentially. It's, basically, rummaging a little bit, but yeah, you're getting more cards out of it that you're discarding. And also, again, temporary ramp of those treasures. Keep at least one of those around, though, just to add to your artifact name count, or whatever we call it. Artifact name count, is that what we're calling it right now? Artifact name count, yeah. Artifact tokens you control. I had to double check. I had to double check Gimbal right there. Was an artifact, named artifact creature tokens. That would have messed up this entire episode. It is not. It is, yeah. So treasures do count toward it as well. Next up, I had a small panic attack right there. Ethereal Investigator, another great card, and one that works with a different kind of token. 2/3 Flying Spirit, enters the battlefield, investigate X times or X number of opponents you have. So basically, make 3 clues. You got 3 opponents in Commander, make 3 clues. Great, that's potential card advantage for you that you can utilize when you get the mana for it. Or, I mean, you're probably just going to keep one around at least, right, for that name requirement for your commander. On top of that, when you draw your second card each turn, you make a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Now, unfortunately, that spirit is not an artifact token, so that does not count toward your names, but still, just having some extra creature fodder up there is great. And of course, you've got plenty of ways to draw more than one card in a turn, like, those clue tokens that you are making with this, and of course, there's other ways to make clue tokens as well. Moving on, I love the name of this card. It is so flavorful. It is so great. Killer Service. What a name. It is fantastic. Enchantment for 2 and a green. Enters the battlefield. Create a number of food tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. How many opponents do I have? 3. 3 food tokens. And now with those food tokens, well, it doesn't have to be food tokens. Beginning of your end step, you may pay 2 and sacrifice a token. If you do, create a 4/4 green rhino warrior creature token. So yeah, with your tokens now, you've got another way to utilize them at your end step. So again, like if you've got excess, food tokens with this one, keep one around for your commander, right? Make sure that you have that name requirement met. Also, though, yeah, sacrifice some, make some rhinos. Those, again, don't count toward your commander's number unless you can turn them into artifacts, which there are ways to do that, yes. But yeah, being able to make some more powerful tokens can be great. And of course, there's ways to take advantage of making tokens and making more tokens. We'll talk about those as well here in a bit. Regardless, I probably should have brought this up first, but the way that I would focus on this commander would be to utilize kind of more of these harder to deal with tokens. Now, artifact creature tokens, like we'll get to here in a second, those can be easier to deal with. Again, like a board like a Wrath of God, the most common board wipes out there that are dealing with creatures, those take out your creatures. Now, they don't take out your food, they don't take out your treasure, they don't take out your clues. Having those kind of harder to deal with tokens in play makes it easier to keep that number up. Next up, Arterial Alchemy. Keeping that in mind, let's do another kind of card that is harder to deal with. Again, an enchantment, enters the battlefield, create a blood token for each opponent you have. Again, 3 blood tokens for the price of 3 mana. That's nice. You can utilize them again for, card selection essentially. Discard a card, sacrifice the artifact, draw a card is how those work. Essentially, again, kind of like, rummaging, essentially. Blood tokens you control, though, are also equipment addition to other types and have equip creatures +2 with 0 and equip 2. So you can also utilize them as an equipment now too, as well. Make your gremlins even tougher, make them even heavier hitting. And again, they have trample, so you can get even more damage through. And again, on top of that, again, blood tokens, like the other tokens I mentioned so far, are harder to deal with than, say, servo artifact creature token, like, Saheeli makes, which is another great card for this kind of a commander. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, which you're going to have a lot of them in this kind of a deck, most likely, create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. On top of that, -2 target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact creature you control until end of turn, except it's an artifact as other types. This can actually kind of add to your number as well, and also work, in an exciting way too. So you can just make one of your other, maybe blood tokens into a, and do an artifact or, a creature you control essentially. So it can have a different name as well. There are ways to utilize that. Again, it's an artifact just to other types, so make sure you keep that in mind. But yeah, you can also just say, hey, this small artifact becomes something massive. So yeah, Saheeli can definitely provide you a lot of value throughout the game. And of course, with your token army that you're going to be making, you can protect her quite easily once you get things going. Speaking of a token army, again, I've kind of mentioned this kind of a token a couple of times so far, I believe. Thopter Spy Network. Yeah, let's make some Thopters. Beginning of your upkeep, you control an artifact, which, yeah, we've got a ton of ways to make artifacts. We're going to control an artifact. Create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Great. That, again, is another named artifact token. Whenever one of our artifact creatures you control deal a combination with a player, draw a card. This is huge because, again, those gremlins that you have, actually all your artifact creatures, right, are going to have trample. So yeah, you can get a lot of damage through on your opponents. And again, if you're spreading out those, giant gremlins swing at your opponents and you're able to get 1 point of damage on each opponent, or maybe just, flying with a Thopter on 1-2, you can draw up to 3 cards in every combat with this, which can be massive. So again, can add to your token count, can add to your name count, and also can add to your, card advantage count. That's not a phrase. Anyways, next up, Helios Artistry, a different way to go about this as well. Choose one or both. Create a token that's copy of target artifact. So with that, hey, let's say we have Ever-Flowing Chalice in play. Well, that's not a good example. Let's say we've got Soul Ring in play. There you go. Make a copy of Soul Ring. Okay, now it is an artifact token, which has a different name than all of your other artifact tokens, unless you've got another token Soul Ring for whatever reason in play. You're going to be adding to your token count and also, ramping as well. This can work with a lot of different artifacts. On top of that, create tokens copy of target creature except its artifacts as other types. Again, adds to your name count. Like, let's say you have even, not your commander, but any other card, any other creature in play. I'm blanking on any creature's name. Let's say you have Steve in play. For whatever reason, you've got Steve in play, right? It's a Creature Eyebalder. Make a token copy of it. Cool. Now it's also an artifact that also adds to your name count too. So again, this can add kind of double to your name count. And also can just, copy something massive for you as well. This can be a huge play, a great card in this kind of a deck. Speaking of which, a play that can come out of absolutely nowhere is Masterful Application. I absolutely love cards like this. This is really cool. Choose one. Create 2 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens. So cool. That can, add to your name requirement. Cool. It's a golem. Awesome. Let's add to the name. Or, and this is the spicy play, choose target artifact you control. Each of the artifact you control becomes a copy of that artifact until end of turn. So, hey, I know I'm, just got all these, random tokens in play that have different names. Cool. Yeah, they're not really doing all that much, just sitting there. And then I've got maybe this, big artifact creature, in play as well that I made, a token copy of, with the Helios Artistry or whatnot. Okay, cool. Let's make them all copies of this, and we're going to swing out and take all my opponents out in absolutely no time with something like this out of nowhere. A very spicy and fun play. Speaking of which, you got to be careful with this one, though. Brutaclad Telcor Engineer. Be careful with this. Here we go. 4/4. Creature tokens you control have haste. That's nice. Just even having that on this is fantastic, because now your creature tokens have haste. They also have trample. You can do a lot of exciting things and, hit your opponents quite hard, quite quickly when this is in play. On top of that, beginning of combat on your turn, you get a 2/1 mirror artifact creature token. So again, adding to your name count right there with mirror. Then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So this is kind of like Masterful Application, but it is permanent. You will permanently change all your tokens into that one token. So, yes, this can be great for, a final move, a finishing move on an opponent to finish them off. This can be a great big swing. Okay, again, all these miscellaneous tokens, blood tokens, food tokens, rare tokens, all these random tokens essentially in play that are adding to your name count. That's great. But again, let's say you've got that massive creature token in play. That's an artifact, and you're like, hey, let's turn all of them into this, and we will swing at our opponents and hopefully take them out in one fell swoop. Again, it's kind of risky because you're going the opposite end of your plan of, diversifying your token names, getting a ton of different token names, and you're making them all into one. So again, you are kind of putting all your eggs in one basket in a way. Not that you can't, go back and just start making more and more tokens, especially if you've got other ways in play to do that repeatedly. But yeah, just be careful with this one. It can be a great play, but be careful. Next up, though, we're going to be moving on to our pricier picks. Again, cards that are more than $1. Cards that are unfortunately outside my budget. And the first one that I want to bring up is Doubling Season. Yeah, if I don't bring up Doubling Season, whenever there is a commander that can use it, I always get yelled at in the comments below, being like, what about Doubling Season? And it's like, yes, I know Doubling Season is good, but it's an $80 card for a reason, because, my goodness, it works with so many commanders, and this one is definitely not, an exception. Again, our commander makes tokens, also puts counters on tokens. We've also got a ton of other ways to make tokens. And Doubling Season, of course, says, if an effect would create one of our tokens under your control, create twice as many tokens instead. Now, whenever we're making any tokens, again, we make a treasure token, cool. Now we make 2 instead of 1, or 4 instead of 2. Or blood tokens, we're making food tokens, we're making clue tokens, double all those up, double up the gremlin tokens that you're making at your end step, double up all their kinds of tokens, great. On top of that, because that wasn't enough, in effect, would put one of our counters on a permanent you control, puts twice as many of those counters on permanent instead. So now, hey, those gremlins that you're making, that you're putting, again, like, let's say you've got 6 different named tokens to play, cool. It would be a 6/6. Now it's a 12/12. It's doubling that up. And now you get 2 12/12s instead of just 1. So instead of just 6 power with 1 creature, you get 24 power across 2 bodies. Absurd. Yeah, Doubling Season is great. Parallel Lives, all those other ones that double up things as well. Make sure you're considering those, of course, for this kind of a commander. It's expensive for a reason. Yes. Okay, anyways, next up. past doubling season. The second Harvest, also a card that used to be budget friendly, but not anymore. Please reprint it. Wizards, instant. For each token you control, create tokens, copy that permanent. Out of nowhere, for 4 mana, double up every single one of your tokens. Now again, this will not double up, the amount of names that are out there for your commander, okay? Still, doubling up all your tokens is an incredibly powerful thing. It can get you really far, especially again when you're utilizing like treasure tokens, again, glue tokens, those kind of things. You just have fun with this, okay? And of course, double up your your creature army as well. Next up, tireless tracker, another way to take advantage of making tokens. A lot of tokens throughout the game, a great repeatable way to do so. Whenever a land enters battlefield under control, investigate. Yeah, again, you're in green. You got a lot of ways to ramp with lands. You got a lot of ways to make a ton of tokens with this, a ton of clue tokens. On top of that, when you're sacrificing those clue tokens, you get a counter on this. Cool, awesome. Make this into a threat, and also make a ton of clue tokens throughout the game with this. And if that wasn't enough, I don't know how this one was uncommon. Tireless Provisioner. Goodness gracious, Wizards. 3-2. Whenever a land enters battlefield under control, create a food token or a treasure token. Most of the time, you're going to be getting treasure tokens with this. Now, you might create one food token, obviously, to meet that kind of requirement for your commander to make a differently named token. Yes. But also, hey, whenever a land comes into play, which again, you're going to have a ton of lands come into play, you're making treasure tokens. Gross, Wizards. Gross. How is this an uncommon? Goodness gracious. But yeah, a very powerful card for a commander like this. Speaking of powerful, oh goodness, please reprint this one as well. Academy Manufacturer, such a cool card. 1-3. If you create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create one of each. So now, instead of just having to create all these different kinds of tokens, just create one of them. Create a treasure token. There you go. Cool. Now you got a food and a clue, adding 3 names for the price of 1 essentially. And also, yeah, every single time you're making any of those tokens, you're making 2 more of those tokens essentially for even more value. Again, you can flood the board very quickly with tokens, take a lot of advantage of them, and yeah, use something like Master Replication or again, Brutal Clad to turn all those things into something deadly. There's a lot of exciting things that you can do with this, and it's a very, very good card that got very, very expensive very, very quickly because treasures became a thing. And then we've got Colonial Hydra, a really good card. Yeah, this card is insane. 0/0 trample, enters battlefield, 4 counters on it when it attacks, doubling the number of counters on each creature you control. Doubling counter effects can be incredibly impactful. Obviously, like we talked about doubling season, this can be just a massive threat. Again, when it's swinging on its own, it becomes an 8/8 after just swinging, and then a 16/16, and then 32/32. Anyways, it can be a huge threat in absolutely no time. And also, yeah, your gremlins are also going to get massive in no time too. So yeah, double up the number of counters on them on attack again. So your gremlins are going to be attacking, are going to be coming through even harder. Again, they have trample. Good luck to your opponents when you do that. Or, super good luck to them when you got Herald of Secret Streams in play, because trample doesn't matter anymore. Trample does not matter because, hey, if you got, well, it does matter, I guess, for your non-ones that, anyways. Creatures you control with plus counters on them can't be blocked. So again, your gremlin artifact creature tokens that have counters on them are now unblockable. Just because this is in play, you're like, yeah, I got a 12/12 gremlin over there, 14 there, 10 there. Cool. They're all coming through. You can't block. Good luck. Yeah, you can take your opponents out in absolutely no time just by slamming this down on the board. And yeah, you're going to have other counter synergies, I'm sure, as well, that can really play into something like this. Speaking of synergies, Strionic Resonator, a great card. Pay 2 tap, copy trigger ability you control, choose targets to the copy. You're going to have a lot of triggers that you can copy with this. Again, things like Tireless Provisioner, etc., 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 including your commander as well. Obviously, you can double up that end step trigger to make 2 gremlin tokens instead of 1. So yeah, doubling up that can be very, very impactful, especially, in combination with like doubling season, which doubles that too. So gross. Speaking of gross, Lithiform Engine. Basically, a more complex version of Strionic Resonator. Pay 2 tap, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. Pay 3 tap, copy target instant sorcery you control. Pay 4 tap, copy target permanent spell you control. So all these are incredibly effective. Again, basically being able to copy your triggered abilities is great. Or, again, with that last one, hey, I played an artifact. Okay, I'm going to make a copy of it. Cool. Get a copy that is a token version of it, essentially, again, adding to your name count as well. So, yeah, there's some sneaky ways that you can add to your name count that can be very impactful with this commander. Overall, yeah, a very interesting commander, one that, yeah, is very, very unique, I would say. Again, the only Gremlin commander that we've ever seen, to my knowledge. Please correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong on that. And again, yeah, let me know if you're excited for the Gizmo alters of this as well, because there has to be, Gizmo's so adorable. If you've never seen Gremlins, make sure you see it. If you're okay, I mean, it's like a horror movie, but like also like comedy too. Like it's one of those like 90s, like, oh, it's scary but funny and cute. But yeah, make sure you check out Gizmo at some point. There's gonna be a lot of alters of this, and I'm sure those tokens are gonna be alters too. please let me know in the comments below what that one evil gremlin in the second Gremlins movie, or first Gremlins movies with the mohawk. Anyways, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't seen my most recent episode on Brimaz, I am so sorry you are now waiting for Axian. Make sure you check that out. That's a very powerful commander, though. But yeah, make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out the card listing in the description below. And of course, make sure you're staying tuned to this channel for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming up. And yeah, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.